Level 20 of My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. We're on Spotify now. Just search My Little Underground and I'm there. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, at Peter A Radio. Follow the show at MLU Pod, Twitter and Instagram. My guest today, Sir Babygirl, is here with me right now. You're from New Hampshire, right?
I am from, yeah. California originally and then New Hampshire. Why
the move to Brooklyn?
I mean, that's a whole question, as opposed to a half question. I mean, basically, I signed with Father-Daughter in April, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have an album come out, and so I mean, it was kind of my plan anyways to move to a major market. Either I was gonna do LA or Brooklyn, and I really wanted to. I was just like really inspired by like the live performance scene around here, and so I really wanted to get my like, you know, live performance up here, but would love to go to LA as well.
Have you played shows in New York before you moved out here?
No, I've only played, I used to play in like a band in Boston, and so like we played like the Allston Boston circuit, but as far as like Sir Babygirl, I have only played aside from like my Two Babies shows that I did here, I've only played in the so it's called like the Upper Valley in the area I live in New Hampshire, and it's like a bunch of different towns because everything's so small, and there's only one DIY venue like within like I would say like a 25 to 50 mile radius. And so I would play at Main Street Museum. I played there like once every 2 months. And yeah, so that was the only experience I got playing Sir Babygirl stuff before I moved to Brooklyn.
Well, then you'll love New York in general because I'm from Long Island and we have a lot of DIY venues out there too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you're still willing to play those.
Oh, my God. I mean, as long as they keep my monitor up and value vocalists, because that's my big beef with DIY spaces is that, like, there's such a weird, like, I just feel like people associate femininity with vocals and caring about vocals. And, like, there's just a long tradition of, like, not giving a shit about the vocalist in, like, a band. And I just had so many experiences in, like, the Boston music scene where I'd be playing basements and I couldn't fucking hear myself. And I couldn't hear myself in the mix and people couldn't hear me. And I was like, no, I'm a diva. Like, I'm in the, like, you need to put me in the mix. Because I think there's, like, definitely a vocal choice to be, like, low in the mix, you know? And, like, that's so fair and valid and, like, hell yeah. And that, like, really works. Like, I feel like a really good example of that is, like, Perfect Pussy with, like, Meredith Graves, and like she purposefully like drowns out her vocals, and it's like super fucking sick, which is sick, but it's like that's a choice, you know what I mean? As much of it is like a choice of me to want to have my vocals like front and center. And so a lot of issues I had with DIY venues was that they wouldn't fucking turn me up. And I was like, turn me up, bitch. So
like that? You said it like that?
I mean, many times I've been on stage and been like, turn me the fuck up. I can't hear myself. So as long as they're willing to do a proper mix and respect the layout that I've given them, then I'm happy to play a DIY venue.
Noted. So you were inspired by Hey Arnold? Is
yeah,
that right?
For sure.
What about it? What about the show?
I think Hey Arnold is the most important TV show I've ever seen in my life. I think that it's like... It's just the perfect example of, like, inclusivity and, like, diversity in an unspoken way where it's, like, there's white kids and kids of color and, like, everyone's, like, has their own identity and it doesn't, like, wash over it, but it also doesn't make, like, the biggest deal about it. You know what I mean? It's, like, Gerald, like, the main black character, it's, like, not, they don't just, like, make his blackness, like, the thing. You know what I mean? Like, he's a fucking kid and they let all these kids be kids. You know what I mean? And, like... I don't know, just Arnold is just like such a beautiful beacon of like healthy masculinity. He's so like soft and feminine and like, I mean, he looks like a lesbian, you know what I mean? He's like so precious. And like, yeah, I don't know. I just think their use of like urban mythology is really beautiful, you know? They have like with Pigeon Man and like Monkey Man, like there's just so much like wisdom and like the writing is so beautiful. And I just feel like yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I grew up on it and it helped me. Like, I moved from California to New Hampshire and like when I moved to New Hampshire is obviously very predominantly white. And I was coming from being in, an area where like it's, huge Hispanic population, like just like actually a good representation of America, right? And as well as it can be. And then moved to New Hampshire, and I like got home from the playground the first day of second grade, and I was like, Mom, why is everybody white? Wow. What's going on? Like, this is wrong. This feels bad. And she was like, I know, I'm sorry. And like, Hey Arnold was like this beacon of like home where it was like, oh my God, that's like how like I actually grew up. And it's like, that's fucking normal. It's not fucking normal, to be segregated. It's not fucking normal to like be, homogenous. Unfortunately, it's traditional. It's part of the American fabric, of course. I mean, we get into that whole shit. But just, yeah. So I don't know. Hey Arnold is just like a beautiful like dreamscape of like, kids just all getting to like coexist and like play and, be kids.
Yeah, I love Hey Arnold too. Did you see the newer episode last Thanksgiving?
No.
They kind of wrapped up everything that was missing in Hey Arnold.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
With the parents?
Mm-hmm. You have to watch it.
Oh, I don't know if I'm ready.
You have to watch it. I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but you're going to love it.
Okay.
It was excellent.
Sick.
And the animation is a little modern, but it doesn't take away the integrity of what you knew and loved about Hey Arnold.
Cool.
I don't know if you were a fan of Dexter's Laboratory growing up. Okay, so in the
Dee
later
Dee
seasons,
is an icon.
Yeah, one of my favorite shows ever.
Femtop icon.
But that show, the animation kind of changed, and it was kind of awkward.
Oh, did it?
The end. Yeah.
Oh, did you see the movie they made of Dexter's Lab where he time travels? That's insane.
No.
There's like 17 different versions of Dexter, and like one is like muscular, and like one is an old man. It's insane. Everybody go check it out now. I don't know where you can watch it. It's somewhere deep inside the internet.
What other shows did you grow up loving?
Rocket Power was very important. Totally Spies, amazing.
Love Totally Spies.
Yeah, hell yeah. Recess, Spinelli, bisexual icon, of course.
She's
and
so
Gretchen.
great.
Gretchen, lesbian icon. I think Gretchen's like a total lesbian, but Spinelli, very bisexual. But yeah, I love Recess. God, I could go off. Like, cartoons are really important to me. They really inform my music. Yeah. Like The Weekenders. Did you ever see that show?
Yes.
Yeah.
One of my favorite shows.
No one talks about it.
Oh my God. Yeah. That show is brilliant.
Did you ever see Kablam?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Kablam is
so important. What's her name? What's the
Oh, Angela Anaconda?
No. The two hosts.
Oh, yeah. I don't fucking remember their names, but they are.
You look like one of them.
Oh, that's sick. I feel like I look like a mix between the two. Yeah. I feel like the dude had green hair and the girl had blue hair, and yeah, I think I'm both.
Yeah.
That's sick. Yeah, and the Prometheus and Bob.
I never watched that.
Okay, it's watch like a whole episode of Kablam. Oh, Angry Beavers, really important show too.
I love it.
Yeah. Like now looking back, it's like, wait, so they were just like two like sexually frustrated like male beavers? Is that what they were, just like angry all the time?
I was confused with the concept, but I
were
just kind of visually.
Yeah,
see,
visually
I'm seeing all these shows in a different light because of you now, because I just thought visually it was kind of cool. Like beavers just, you know what I mean? And everything was so shiny. And I don't know, from a visual standpoint,
Remember Stumpy?
Yeah.
This is just a podcast on like 90s cartoons now.
Yeah.
And just us like jizzing over.
What about Our Real
memories.
Monsters?
Our Real Monsters, good, not sustainable for me. Like the effect worked on me and it made me uncomfortable and scared. I wouldn't say Our Real Monsters like inspired me, but I would say like I respect it as a show.
What about The Simpsons?
I mean, Lisa Simpson is literally the reason why I got into music.
Yeah.
I don't mean that in any way but the truth. Like she I saw her playing the saxophone when I was, because I have two older brothers, so I was always that little sister that was watching like Animal House when I was 7, you know, like just not watching inappropriate stuff for my age. And so like The Simpsons like was a big family thing. We would, you know, every Sunday watch The Simpsons.
Same.
Yeah. And so I saw Lisa, I think when I was 5, I was like, I want that. I need to play that. And she was like my hero, and so I was like, I want to do what Lisa does. And yeah, I think like girl cartoons were what I looked up to for like women because I had 2 older brothers and I really looked up to them. But like, yeah, I think for like my inspiration for like women, it was always pop stars and cartoon characters, which makes a lot of sense. But yeah, so I started playing the saxophone and I was like, Mom and Dad, hello, I would like to play the alto saxophone. And they were like, you're physically too small. And I was like, prove it, bitch. And they were like, okay. And they took me to a music store and this, I'll never fucking forget it, this fucking dweeb ass dude handed me an alto sax and he was like, it's gonna be too heavy. And I was like, try me. And then he handed it to me, but like did not give me enough of a warning. And it slipped out of my hands onto the floor. And I had my first traumatic moment. And then like as a consolation, he like handed me a clarinet. And I was like, don't even do that. Because like I don't want to be Squidward. You know what I mean? I want to be Lisa, not Squidward. Much respect to Squidward, gay icon. But clarinet, not for me. Not for me.
Was there an episode in particular
of Lisa?
Yeah.
I mean, Bleeding Gums Willie, like her.
Bleeding Gums Murphy.
Fuck, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I was mixing it up with Groundskeeper Willie. Yeah. Bleeding Gums Willie. Oh my God.
Sax on the Beach.
Oh, Bleeding Gums Murphy, so powerful.
Yeah.
And like their relationship was so cool, it was so pure.
Yep. And then he's up in the clouds at the end when they play that last song. Oh man.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It was just like she had such a beautiful like idolship and like mentorship with just like a middle-aged man, you know? And they didn't make it creepy. It was just beautiful.
Exactly.
I was like, wow, that's how life should be. So yeah, I like basically in a weird twist, we moved across country to New Hampshire because my parents are freaks, and a new friend that we made was like, my daughter doesn't want to play her alto sax anymore. We like bought it, and so like we don't really know what to do with it. Do you want it? It was crazy. And so I was like, duh. And so I got an alto sax when I moved there. I was like 8. And I started taking lessons from a high school boy named Patrick. Shout out Patrick.
So you didn't end up getting that sax from this music store?
No,
from that douchebag.
It was also too expensive.
Oh, right.
But literally they gave us a fucking, I still have this alto saxophone. They gave it to us for free. And now this woman is like my non-blood aunt. Shout out to Aunt Teresa. She's the best. And she like basically started my music life. She enabled me to start my music life. Cause yeah, obviously like instruments are fucking expensive and it's like so insane. Ugh, like we get into that, but it's just like, it's so wild. Like obviously it's like hard to even get access to like something like, oh, you want to play like French horn? Okay, good luck. Like, can you afford it? You know?
Where can you even buy one?
Where
a Guitar Center?
Right.
Ash?
You gotta like rent it or whatever. Like it's just wild. But so I found a loophole and I had an alto sax, and so I started playing that, and then I was playing that for a little bit, and then in 5th grade, I started getting into rock and roll. And my dad did the whole rock and roll, classic rock introduction, and I got really into The Who.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Really into The Who, really into Guns N' Roses.
I was never into them. I liked Jimmy and Sabbath growing up.
Okay, yeah. Like Led Zeppelin and The Who were like the most, and then but Guns N' Roses, I mean, obviously like very, very questionable taste of mine. But Axl Rose was a lesbian icon. I mean, Axl Rose, I was so struck by Axl Rose. His androgyny. I mean, I've just always been attracted to androgynous men, like him, Gerard Way.
What about Prince?
Love Prince. This is my dirty little secret I shouldn't reveal on air, is that I still haven't done my Prince, like, listened to his collection. Mm-hmm. I need to do it. I was just more into, like, women divas.
Okay.
Than men divas, aside from like the classic rock stuff. But yeah, I mean, yeah, this is embarrassing, but yes, I admit it. Well, I think we all have fucking classic, like, big people that are like iconic that we haven't really listened to. You know what I mean? Like, I could say I've listened to Prince because, of course, inactively, his music's just been a part of the American fabric. So I've heard of the global fabric. But have I ever sat down and been like, I'm going to fucking listen to Prince today? I haven't done that, and I want to do that, you know? Yeah. But I feel like we all have lists of artists where it's like, of course we know their greatest hits, but it's like, have you actually delved in and also, like, listened contextually? Like, the other, like, month, I was like, you know what? I've never actually listened to Madonna and Kylie Minogue. Like, and so I was like, I'm going to listen, like, album by album and, like, look up the Wikipedia and understand, like, politically, like, what was happening at that time. Like, why did they write that album? And, like, go through it like that. And, like,
Kylie's been on my mind for the last 2 months.
I love her.
I don't know why. That song that she had, that big hit, La La La,
oh,
Can't Get You Out.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Oh my, it's a beautiful
like
song.
Eurotrance song.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
It came out during a crazy time, you know.
Fever.
9/11 time-ish.
It was 9/11. Yeah. It was.
I used to hear it all the time, and I wasn't sick of it.
Yeah.
But I liked it, because now, looking back at it, I associate it with my childhood. Mm-hmm. But besides the nostalgia thing, it's just a great song by itself, you know?
In 4th grade, because I was in New Hampshire, so they were like, we're close to Canada, and they were like, you're going to learn French. So we had, like, French classes, and at school, I went to, like, a very weirdly well-funded public school. It's, like, this weird anomaly in the town I live in. But, like, she played us, I don't know why, but my French teacher in 4th grade played us the music video to Can't Get You Out of My Head by Kylie Minogue, and I remember just being blown away and entranced.
Yeah.
So yeah, very formative song.
Yes.
Very cool song.
Pink. Did you listen to Pink a lot?
Love Pink.
Yeah.
Love
Misunderstood
Pink.
is a great album.
It's so good. It's I think it's her best one. I go back to that one a lot. I love the whole structure of it. It's absurd. She's absurd. I saw her live with my mom this past year.
Yeah, how was she?
Pink is my parents' favorite pop star.
Really?
She's such a mom and dad pop star, you know what I mean? Like, I mean that in the best way. Like, she's just like, yeah, she's so sick. She was insane live. Like, I really think she doesn't get enough props. Like, her fucking vocal stamina is insane. I mean, she was 100% giving live vocals and, like, you know, doing what I actually think is interesting is that I'm not surprised that she does in the air shit, because, like, I think that actually, like, probably forces a really healthy airflow, because it forces you to be so free in your body. And, like, the biggest mental block about singing is that you just have to, like, be relaxed. You just need to actually relax your instrument, you know? Because it's like a saxophone is already relaxed. It just is what it is. It has the structure, but our bodies can stop us from, like, doing so much if we're tense or we have, like, the wrong amount of tension. And, like, with singing, like, you mean like a classic, the classic, like, vocal warm-up that's, like, if you're trying to hit, like, a high note, is you go down and you go, like, you know, and you come up. Because it just, like, it, like, forces freedom. And so I think that, like, it makes a lot of sense to me that Pink does, like, aerial work, because I think it forces freedom for her. Yeah. So, yeah, she was really amazing. It was a fucked up show. Like, it was fucked up good, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, so love Pink. Fascinated by the fact that she was, like, started as an R&B artist. So weird. Not surprising given, like, our market and our American history of music world. But very interesting how she went from R&B and then she, like, got that, like, rock edge and, like, kind of moved into that and has always kind of, like, had that.
How would you define pop music? It's difficult, right?
Well, I just wonder what's the merit in... The thing is that pop music, it really does mean something different to everyone. Obviously, there's structured, like, this is pop music. But pop music, like, pop structure, pop writing is in so much music, you know? There's hooks in so much music that isn't pop music. So it's like, I think there's like a... And I think we're finding that out more and more as genres like just create little like fucking like spawns, you know, just like crazy little spawns now that like genres are like mixing so much. I just think it's like, where isn't pop music? Like, you can find it in the most like bizarre places now, you know, which is cool. And I really am into like the idea of like decentralizing pop music. Obviously, like that's like a big mission of mine, is like I kind of like call my stuff outsider top 40 music, because it's like I'm not an industry baby. Like I have no like right to be making bubblegum pop music. Like, it doesn't make sense, but it's, like, it's the most, like, it's the music that speaks to me, so, like, why wouldn't I make it, you know? Like, so, yeah, I don't know. I just think, like, there's, like, so many different... Now, pop music is becoming super nebulous.
So, if I played you 2 different songs, and what characteristics makes a pop song to you, do you think?
So are you saying more so like not what is pop, but what's a pop song?
Sure.
I mean, I think just like my like idiot take on it is that it's just like, you know, the hook is really important. You know, I think hooks are to pop music as an eyelash curler is to mascara. You know? They're symbiotic and integral, and you might take it for granted, but it's always gonna be it's gonna make it better, because there are some pop songs that don't have hooks, but I mean I think the best pop songs have fucking fire hooks. So yeah, I think the hook is like, I think it's kind of foundational, and then I think that there's a really delicate balance lyrically of accessibility, but also specificity. I think specificity is the key to universality. So it's like, you gotta like be, I mean, the most grabbing pop songs to me, like they still like are broad enough that you can like wash your own experience over it. But like, there's something in there where like it, like the knife twists a little bit and you're like, oh, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like, shit. That and even if you don't know what they're talking about, you feel it. I think like the best pop songs, like they have to be visceral, you know. They have like Robin is like probably, I mean, I think Robin's like probably the best like pop songwriter producer. Like the way that she like creates like crying in the club music. And that whole subgenre of like catharsis through like, you know, there's like an emo-ness to it. I think like I think the best pop music has like some emo in it, you know. So
would you, like you said, you would associate pop music with accessibility and mass pop culture?
I would just say, yeah, I think accessibility, like, it doesn't have to be a dirty word, you know what I mean?
Of course not.
Accessibility, like emotional accessibility, you know, like the imagery, like that's accessible, that opens up your imagination, you know. I mean, one of the coolest things about fucking pop music is that it's fantasy. It's taking the mundane and it's making it larger than life.
Song structure wise, is that what you're talking about?
I think just like
the mundaneness,
the soundscape.
Okay.
This like sonic landscape of pop music. The best pop music to me, like, it surrounds me. I feel like I'm enveloped in like a whole other world, you know? Like when you put a Robin song on, you're like, I'm in this world.
Okay.
You know?
So structure and pop, synonymous or no?
I think so. Okay. I think so for the best pop. I mean, I think you can, we're playing, I think you have to know, for me at least, I'm really structure oriented because I really like controlled chaos. So I think like for me at least, for like my process as I like push my glasses up the bridge of my nose, for my process, I think it's great to know what the walls are, so I know which ones I can like break down and create a window in, and which ones I can put posters on and leave alone. Like, I love having structure so that then I know what I can fuck with and twist, because, like, that's for me more interesting in experimentation, like, is like little tweaks and little warps and stuff, than like just being like, great, I'm gonna reinvent the wheel. It's like, no. No one's reinventing the wheel. We're all fucking copying each other. And like, that's fine, you know, to an extent. Yeah, obviously you have to be like, there's a lot in that conversation too. But I'm very like inspired by studying structure instead of like neglecting it and
I think
acting
that's a
like
perfect
it just came
definition.
out of nowhere.
That's it. I think that's it.
Did we
That's
find
perfect.
it?
You might have. Yeah.
Yes.
I agree
Okay,
with
I can
that.
go now.
Totally.
Cool.
So do you think genre is a barrier in music?
Say more.
So, okay, your album that's coming out. And if you were to go to a record store, where would you put this Sir Babygirl record? In the pop section, in the indie rock section, in the hip hop section, in the experimental section, if there is one? That's what I mean.
No. I don't really. Yeah, no. I mean, no. Not really.
Okay.
Also because we're not really going into, I mean, it's just genre is becoming so fucking nebulous with streaming and everything. It's like, yeah. I would put it in the pop section.
Okay.
For me, like, labels set me free. Like, I really love identifying as, like, bisexual and non-binary because I feel like there's so much in that world of that word. I think it's the classic thing. It's like, if a label, like, frees you, then you probably found the right one. If you feel trapped by it, it's probably not right for you, you know? Or you need to, like, kind of address some internalized stuff. But, like, which I have to do every day, as we all do. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very like, I love, I like categories. I think they're I don't know. Yeah, I as you can tell, I like structure. I like categories because I think there's so much room inside of them. I don't think you need to be trapped by labels. I think that's, like, obviously it depends on what context we're talking about with labels, obviously. But I think with this kind of stuff, I think it's just like, it's fun because I like the idea that, like, I'm in the pop category, but like it's kind of a twisted version of pop, you know, but it's still pop.
Okay. Yeah, that's good enough. But let's say if some music publication reviews your album and then calls you a certain type of artist. So from what you're telling me, you won't feel bounded by that label.
I mean, that's on them. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's not my problem.
Oh, great. All right. You've talked before about pop escapism.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of what we've already talked about. It's like you press play on you know, Call Your Girlfriend by Robin, and you're somewhere else, you know? And I think especially in the fucking climate we're in, I think, like, for me, I've found, like, as I've kind of worked through, like, my own trauma recovery and stuff, it's like I always come back to pop music. Like, it always, like, it brings me to another level where it's like we can talk, like, I think a part of survival is, like, finding healthy ways to escape, you know? And, like, pop music is, like, a really fucking cathartic escape, you know? So, yeah, and in general, like, I'm really interested in world building, and, like, when you come to my show, like, you're a part of this world now, you know? Like, we're gonna have a whole fucking experience. Like, I really, especially in the digital age, like, I fucking love, like, Instagram and, like, playing with formats online. I think it's so sick, but I also really want to challenge people to, like, come out and have a reason to come out to the show. Like, I'm not just gonna be standing there, like, sounding pretty, you know? Like, I want people to feel this kind of, like, fire under them to be a part of this experience and, like, come share that with me and escape together and work through, you know, everyone working through their own issues, like, together and alone. Because I know, like, for me, the best experience, like, when I was, like, dealing with, like, pretty intense, like, debilitating, like, mental illness, like, depression, you know, anxiety stuff, like, a couple years ago, I would every now and then, like, leave the house and go see a pop show. You know, I would see Grimes, I would see Sleigh Bells, I would see Mo. And, I mean, they were like the shining moments of those years. Like every time I would go to those shows, I would just be like, okay, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. Like this is like it just completely took me out of myself, you know? I think we need to be taken out of ourselves sometimes because we're inundated so fucking much. And we're inundated with our own fucking identities and what that means in this world, and especially in the US. And it's like, we all need a moment to fucking breathe.
Yes. I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
What was the first artist you fell in love with, musically?
Christina Aguilera.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about her?
Her.
Oh, what album?
Yeah, her and Britney kind of at the same time. No, there's no need to, obviously there's no need to have a competition. They're both so fucking powerful and like meant different things to me. But I would say Britney was more of a visual inspiration for me. And Christina, like, yeah, I just feel like Christina, Whitney, and Mariah were like the three women that like taught me how to sing, and Beyonce. Like I feel like they all, like I took formal voice lessons, and that was awesome. But like I would also, like I was such a music nerd, so I would just like work on my own all the time. And like just growing up, like I remember when I was like 6 or 7, like listening to Christina, and I was just like, oh, that's how you sing.
I was obviously Michael growing up.
What?
Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Bad was
I
my
love
first
Janet.
album.
Janet's my favorite.
I love Janet too.
Yeah. Obviously, not that you have to pick a favorite. But the Velvet Rope album is just like, have you given that a good listen?
That's a double album from 97?
Yeah,
that was 97. Yeah.
Yeah. The cover with the curls.
Yeah.
It's just her head of hair.
Yep. Yeah. I haven't heard the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I should.
Recommend.
Yes.
So many things to listen to.
I want to talk about your music hiatus that you went on a few years ago.
Uh-huh.
And you tried stand-up, is that right? Tell me about that time period.
Yes. You're like, tell me a joke. Make me laugh. I legally can't do that anymore. I've signed a contract. Yeah, so I graduated college and I was playing in the Boston music scene. Thank you to my BFA in acting, I had gotten vocal nodules because fucking BFAs scrape you dry until you've got nothing left, and then you graduate and you're like, what was that all for? And you're like, interesting. And so I had a diploma and I had a vocal injury, and I was trying to start my life. And I was playing in the DIY scene where no one gave a shit about vocalists and vocal health, and I was in like vocal therapy. I didn't have to get surgery because it was like pre-nodules, so like nodes, for anyone that doesn't know, nodes are like basically a callus on your vocal cords that develops when you have overuse and they're not lubricated enough. And so I had a vocal injury and was playing in the scene and was also slowly starting to figure out how to produce on my own, and like was just hearing beats in my head and was like, how do I fucking plug a flash drive into my brain and plug that into the computer? And I didn't really have like, I was playing with 2 dudes. One of them is still my boy. Shout out to Chris. He's in Queens, actually. We should have him over. But there just wasn't like, I didn't have like any kind of mentor for production, and it's like a really alienating fucking category of the music industry, and it's really like gatekeepy to women, and it's like, I just didn't feel like I could ever produce. I was just like, I'm never going to get to figure that out. I'm never going to be good enough at like computers to figure that out, and just had so many mental blocks, but was slowly chipping away. And then I just kind of reached a point with my band where I was like, I'm a diva. Like, this is a band. I need to be able to like, I need to really have this be my whole vision. Like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I love working with a team and I love collaborating. But I just felt like I was like, I need to just do my own project. Like, I need that freedom so that I'm not being like a cunt when I'm like telling people what my vision is. It's just like, that's what we're all here for, But yeah, so I basically had like a breakdown and moved home for a little bit, and then was like, where do I go? And I had already like been to Chicago for like a semester because I like did a Second City comedy studies thing during school. And so I was like, okay, I like can't really sing well anymore. And in my opinion, I was like, I still could sing, but I was like, my voice is gone, you know? And I was just like, I'm going to go do stand up. And so I started doing stand up, and that was really funny. And it was like fun because I like didn't have high stakes in it. But it's really just such a, I mean, God bless anyone who's not a fucking cis white dude that wants to do stand up, because I've never been in such hostile rooms. It's just disturbing. Every fucking open mic you go to, it's like 7 white dudes making rape jokes, and then you have a white girl come up and you're like, okay, thank God. And then she makes jokes about having sex with black men. And you're just like, awesome. Awesome. So it's just brutal. It's so and then you have like maybe 1 or 2 people that come up and just like actually just give like a great, beautiful set. And you're like, okay. So it's just like, it's so brutal. And I kind of realized, I was like, all right, are these like the rooms that I could like stomach being in? Like, is it worth, do I want to do stand up so bad that I don't mind being in these rooms? And I kind of started thinking about it in that way. And I was like, okay, every entertainment industry is like really brutal, like in general, and especially towards non-cis white dudes. And so I started thinking like, okay, what is worth like my dream? What's worth pursuing my dream? Like, what shitty room is worth being in so that I can get a little closer to my dream? You know what I mean? Or like hostile room or, you know what I mean? So like, I started like, and I was working at music venues, just being like a PA. And so I was like, well, I was like, you know, doing like hospitality for all these musicians coming in, just being like, fuck, why am I not doing this? Like, why? What the fuck? And, so everything started to kind of like congeal together, and then I wrote Heels, my song Heels, after I got fired from a spy restaurant. And it was just kind of I don't write like about one particular person. I don't find that very motivating. I more so like will just have like a month or 2 or 5 or 17 of just like experiences, life, whatever, and then I'll kind of be like, I'm getting better at this, but I'll usually like you know, I used to be really I would suppress a lot, and then it would just like one day out of nowhere I would just be like, ugh! And so I got fired, and I was like, oh, I'm fired. And so this whole like Heels just came out in like half an hour because I was just like,
so you being around music venues brought you back into the music space.
Yeah.
Space.
Well, because it made me, I was like, what the fuck? I'm like going to these music venues, I'm putting in the work, and it's not towards any betterment of my own music career. You know what I mean? I'm just around it, you know? And it was the most depressing thing, you know? Like, it was really good and important, like, life experiences, but it was just, like, very depressing, and it made me feel like I was completely missing out, and, like, that was a big sign to me. And so it kind of made me realize more and more, I was like, holy shit, like, all these people coming in are, like, they're just, you know, it's that thing where you're like, oh, they're just people too. Like, they're just, like, idiots like me, just, like, trying to, like, fucking play their music. And so I was like, I want to be an idiot too. And so, yeah, I just kind of like, I wrote Heels, and I got this dude from Tinder to like bring some of his equipment and help me record it, because I couldn't afford like buying production equipment. And so all I had was like this little Arturia MIDI keyboard and GarageBand. I didn't have like Ableton at that point. Obviously, still really lucky to have a Mac computer that has GarageBand. Like, see, it's like there's so much gatekeeping like monetarily on production. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta have a fucking laptop, and then you gotta have like a MIDI instrument. You gotta have, you know what I mean? It's like, it's so wild. But
you got somebody from Tinder to bring you stuff?
Yeah. I had like met him on Tinder a few times, wasn't into him, and then was like, he was an engineer, and I was like, yo, do you want to come over and do this? Like, this is strictly like a business thing. And of course, like, he was creepy, and he was really creepy, and it was like a very important moment for me to realize that I really could not. I did not want to have to depend on men to make my music. I didn't want to depend on anyone, but men were the only people I could find to work with. I've never fucking worked with, I've never worked with a girl engineer or producer yet, and I'd really like to. but it's been really hard to find. My producer right now is Transmask, and my engineer is Transmask, and he's amazing, and he's like the coolest person and most talented person. But he's the first non-cis dude I've ever worked with, and happens to just be sick. Obviously not because of his identity. And I'm also like very wary of that too, of just wanting, like, I think it's that tricky thing where it's like we need more diversity. We need to like decolonize. We need to all this. And also we need to make sure that like the people we're working with are just like good people to work with, you know? Like,
yep.
Like, you know, all like everyone is toxic, you know, to an extent, and some are like, you know what I mean? So it's like no one's exempt from being shitty, you know? And I do think we're getting way too binaried in our conversation, and it's just fucking hard because there's so much trauma. There's just so much fucking trauma. And so people just want to be heard and want to like, there's just so much, but it's hard to have a nuanced conversation, and it's hard to actually flesh out spaces, I think, that aren't just like, you know, we're going so into identity politics that we're just like, oh, like this whole group of people are all angels because that's, you know what I mean? It's like, no, they're humans.
Yeah.
Like we're all bastards, you know what I mean? Like we're all bastards,
yeah.
you know? While still holding people accountable for being shitty. So it's like, it's hard. But yeah, so long-winded
You're a diva,
answer.
right? You call yourself a diva?
Yeah, like, you know, tongue-in-cheek. Like, I
Yeah.
think it's fun. I'm really obsessed with, like, the mythology of the diva, you know? Like,
So
with
what is
Mariah.
that to you? Is it a good or bad thing?
It's an amazing thing.
Okay.
Because I think diva has been such a derogatory term. And not, like, in a hugely oppressive way. You know, I'm not like, oh, you know, like, I just think in, like, a way where it's just, like, really subtly derogatory, where it's, you know, Mariah, she's such a diva. Whitney, she was such a diva. And it's like, okay, it's the age-old thing of, like, dudes are never called fucking divas. But past that, I'm just, like, really tickled by, like, the humor that comes with being a diva. I mean, like, Whitney and Mariah, like, some of the funniest people you've ever seen in interviews. You know what I mean? Like, they're so witty and sharp and funny and cunty, you know what I mean? In the best way. Like, they're just, like, so, like, there's just such an intelligence, I think, to a true diva that I'm so fascinated by. And their vision is so intense that, like, they accept nothing but what they want. And that's fucking so powerful, you know? And, like, the fact that, like, Mariah, like, she has not settled in her career. You know what I mean? She's not settled for shit. She fucking, like, this last album she just released is so sick. Have you listened to it?
Yeah.
I love it.
It's pretty solid.
It's solid
as fuck. It's contemporary.
It is. But it's still old Mimi sounds.
Yeah.
The percussion is fucking Mimi. The fucking, like, yes, it's so good.
Yeah.
I love it. And it's also really, like...
It's contemporary, but she doesn't compromise
Yep.
Mariah, if that
Exactly.
makes any sense.
And that's what a true diva is like, you're never compromising your actual vision. Like, you're able to be nebulous and you're able to, like, adapt, because adapt or die. But, like, your vision is always at the core. And Mariah has never, even if you don't like what she's doing... You know, she's always being fucking Mariah.
So diva is like personality.
Yeah, I think it's
right?
the whole personality. I think divas are some of the best stand-ups. You know what I mean? I think the best stand-ups aren't comedians. You know what I mean? I think the funniest people aren't comedians. Like, I think in real life, the funniest people are usually people that are 10,000 miles away from comedy. You know? I think...
Like, people say that I'm funny, but I'm not funny because I'm comparing myself to, like, a comedian that I think is funny.
Right. And who knows if they're funny in real life? You know, some of the funniest people on stage are fucking dull as shit in real life. and some of the funniest people in real life can't do shit on stage, you know? It's fascinating. But yeah, so I love the mythology of the diva. I'm very inspired by it because I think it's just like really, they're femtops, you know what I mean? They're domineering women. And like Mariah tops us all, you know. Beyonce tops us all. They like own us. And we let them, and we want them to, you know.
And they're like, Beyonce is so multifaceted, actress, dancer.
I mean, let's go back to Beyonce in The Fighting Temptations. Did you ever see that movie?
Yes. Yeah.
That soundtrack is amazing. It was one of my most formative soundtracks.
Dreamgirls.
Oh, I mean, of course.
Very good stuff.
We are Dreamgirls.
Yeah. And I'm not even a musical person, but I did like that movie because everybody in it was spectacular. Jennifer Hudson.
It was great.
Eddie Murphy. He was really good in that.
He was. What's her name? Anika Noni Rose. She was the other Dreamgirl. Very powerful player. My mom and I went to see it, and she's the one that like really always like, I thought everyone's mom did this, and I think some of them do, but like I realized like my mom really made it important to like, she was like, she started me like with my appreciation for like divas, and she was always like, Michael, Janet, Mariah, Whitney, Christina, like they are to be revered. They are important figures. She really loves Prince, so I really should listen to Prince for her. But when we went to see Dreamgirls, in our little theater in New Hampshire, she stood up at the end and clapped. Like she just so appreciates.
I clap
like,
at the end of good movies.
You gotta, yeah. Why not?
Even if I'm the only one in there.
Exactly.
You know? Have you seen the movie Hearts Beat Loud? Just came out recently.
No,
it's fantastic. I applauded a little bit at the end.
it.
No one heard me, but
fuck it.
It was really good.
That's so cute.
Tell me about your time at the Boston University School of Theater.
LOL. What do you want to know?
Like, what was your takeaways from it?
My takeaways was that I got vocal nodes. My takeaway is that no one they don't care about anyone that's gay except for cis gay white men. To be fair, I learned a lot. I learned a lot of fucking good stuff in spite of the fact that like all theater programs are inherently toxic and abusive, and they mimic like they mimic the world, and they're small and incestuous and like I'm not really selling BU very well, but I'm really just talking in general about, you know, higher education. It's a business, you know.
Oh yeah.
And it's when you mix that with then creative, and you're going to like creative arts college, I mean, it's just a breeding ground for absurdism. It's absurd. Like everything every caricature, satire you can imagine on like acting teachers, throwing chairs, it all happens.
Oh yeah?
It all happens. I'm here to tell you. Yeah, I mean, I had a tumultuous time there. I had no idea what the fuck my identity was. Like, I was a really late bloomer with like my sexuality and gender. Like halfway through school, I realized I was bi, and I didn't have any bi friends. Like no one was there was a lot of just like internal like how like I just felt really alienated, and like how the fuck like I didn't, you know, I wanted to do comedy, and they were really like classic acting school, and they didn't really like. Yeah, so it was a very hilarious and bizarre fit for me to go to, but I had a couple teachers that like were my like saving graces. Most teachers did not really like me.
Mm-hmm.
But
why? Why do you think that is?
Because I was onto the system a lot earlier than other kids were, so I would be like, well, okay, so you're, like, telling me to roll around like a cat, but, like, why? And they'd be like, why are you questioning me? You know, I'd be like, but why are we doing this for 2 hours? You know, like,
I had
what's
that.
Good with this?
Yes, I've been that person.
Yeah. And
maybe not so much, but, like, I would voice my opinion on certain, like, what's the point of this?
Right. I want to understand.
Me
and
too.
I felt like I'm, you know, because I'm just, like, a fucking curious-ass person, and I want to understand, like, what the fuck is, like, I want to understand the whole machine, you know, what makes it work. And like there was just like a lot of like, I feel like you had to be submissive in ways that I was like, I'm not really fucking down for that. And so also, yeah, I liked doing comedy, and they literally like they didn't think that comedy like was a proper theater form, so they thought I just had an attitude problem. Like I'd try to do like comedic monologues, and they'd be like, you just don't care, do you? And I'd be like, I literally care so much. I love comedy. And then, like, it just was such a misconnection. It was so brutal. And also just like it's just they breed competition between girls there so horrifically, and now I'm like friends with girls that I never was friends with from theater school because we were like, holy shit, we got pitted against each other. Oh my god, like I never actually got to know you, like hi. So there's been a lot of beautiful like healing that's happened post school, but there's just there's a lot of there's just a lot of weird shit. But I had a couple teachers that like were just like, I see you, you're a freak, you don't fit in here, and that's okay. And like, you're gonna be okay once you leave, you know? And so I kind of
I've had a few of those too.
Yeah, you have a few of those teachers, and that to me is more valuable than anything, is having a specific connection than having everyone love you. Because I know I'm an acquired taste. So, you know, so yeah, I had a couple of those teachers, and like, they really helped me. And like, yeah, the training was, when it wasn't abusive, the training was really good, you know? But like, yeah, acting schools are really, there's a lot of toxicity they need to work through, and there's a lot of, you know, classic protection of shitty male teachers that they need to fucking work through.
Yeah.
And like,
Don't you think that in that space where, oh, you have to do everything this way, and when you're questioning why some of the methods that you're taught, isn't that, at least for me, isn't that the time period where you really get to know who you are as a creative person? Yeah,
for sure. At the time, it sucked, you know? Mm-hmm. At the time, it wasn't fun, but I'm now able to, like, look back and be like, okay.
You know what to avoid now.
Yeah, you know, right? What you don't want to do.
Yes.
And that was a lot of theater school, is me being like, hey, I don't want to be an actor, but I want to, like, use a lot of these theatrical, like, methods and techniques and apply it to music to create a whole production and a whole world. Because, like, I'm very, like, I love directing, and that's always been, like, a huge passion of mine, but, like, it's never been, like, the central one. It's just one that I like to be included in other stuff, and, like, with Sir Babygirl, like, I get to be the creative director, and so that's what I like about music, is that you basically, like, if you want to, you can run the whole show, you know what I mean, like, creatively.
And you did that with Haunted House.
Yeah,
I love that video. Tell me about
that. That was so sick. It was such a sick experience. My friend Eli from theater school, who also was similarly traumatized, he's gay, and he reached out to me last year and was like, no one knew, because I was at home in New Hampshire and everyone thought I was delusional, and no one knew I was in talks to have a record deal and stuff with father-daughter, and I couldn't announce anything, so like, no one really knew what I was up to. And Eli hit me up and was like, hey, I don't know what you're doing, but, like, if you ever fucking, like, you know, basically get your shit together, like, I would love to direct something for you. And I was like, I actually am getting my shit together, and I'll hit you up when it's fully together. And so then I hit him up, like, a month later, and, like, ever since, like, May, we've been brainstorming and just really collaboratively coming up with the treatment together, which is really, really, really important for me. And yeah, coming up, like, really organically with a team that made sense. And, like, it was this kind of thing where it's like the crew and the cast, like, a lot of them were queer, but it was also, they were the right people. And it's that right mix, you know what I mean? Like, and it felt so powerful. Like, I went to LA to shoot it, and it was just so fucking wild to be on set where, like, I didn't feel unsafe. I felt so safe, and I felt like,
because it was your space that you created.
It was my space I created, and, like, Eli helped me create it. Like, we created it together, and it was like, yeah, it was just, and, like, I can't speak for anyone else, and, like, who knows, but I think people felt pretty free and, like, fairly safe, I like to think, and, like, I don't know, it just kind of resulted in, like, what you see in that, like, yeah, just like with the dancers and with everyone was so passionate about it. Like the DP, Tyler Weinberger, amazing. He does like Slut Ever for Vice. He does DP for that sometimes. Just everyone.
Director of photography?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then like Roby, who choreographed it. Like everyone just was like, yeah, everyone was just like actually so passionate about it, and like it fucking shows. You know what I mean? So it was cool. So yeah, that was really important to me, because it was like my first ever like visual with a little bit of a budget.
So like I'm watching the video. It's a haunted house, and it's like a bedroom slumber party, and you produce some of your music in your room. Is that kind of how this video was? Like, did you want to capture like how you make your music and how to get to know you?
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I think that's like, I don't think that was like directly like thought out. I think that's just kind of inherent in kind of the Sir Babygirl world universe, is that there is this like there is this like reverence towards bedrooms as being like a holy space, but also being a space that like your deepest traumas, your everything's in there, you know? And so I wanted it to be like your room is your diary, you know? And I wanted to create like a breathing diary for us to be in.
I want to talk about the time period from you leaving Chicago, going back to New Hampshire. Was this time period, did it inspire how Crush on Me came together?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was, I mean, it's, looking back, it's all kind of method. It, like, feels like a method acting thing. Because, like, I came up with the album title Crush on Me before I even had, like, I had been making songs for Sir Babygirl since, like, 2015. But I didn't have any kind of cohesive thing. And I wrote this, like, little song Crush on Me that's going to be, like, on the album. And it's kind of this, I was writing like a lot of short songs, like 40-second songs, very like Tierra Whack. Do you know Tierra Whack? Yeah, she's fucking amazing. So inspired by her. She's amazing. But I was very much doing that kind of stuff. I was writing like really short form songs, kind of mixing comedy and kind of just playing with form and structure. And so I was kind of all over the map. I made this song Crush on Me, and I was like, Crush on Me, I think that's gonna stick. And then so I had that, like, I had the album name like back in 2016.
Wow.
So it's like gonna be like 3 years. Yeah, I will have had it for like 3 years now when the album comes out, which is fucking a mindfuck. But yeah, I had the title, and then I kind of like worked towards that title. I've kind of just been working towards that title and fleshing out, like, what does that mean for me? Like, what does it mean to have a crush on yourself? Because I feel like we have this, like, inundation of, like, commercialized self-love. And it's, like, it's reaching a fever pitch that, for me, has given me ear sore. You know, it's just like, you have to love yourself. And it's like, I don't know. Like, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, you know? Like, I don't want to be, like, fucking chained to it, you know? And so I kind of started thinking about crush and having a crush on yourself. And, like, what's at the core of a crush? To me, it's curiosity. Because you always want to know more about your crush. You're always curious. You always want to learn more. And it keeps it alive for you. So I was like, what if I had a crush on myself? And I, like, pursued myself and, like, pursued my sexuality and my gender. And, like, always kind of, like, it's this never-ending, you know, curiosity. And same with production and applying curiosity instead of a finalization. You know, I love myself now. Thank you. Good night. You know, like, I got a crush on myself. So today I'm kind of going to chip away, you know, and just like kind of creating a manifesto for me to like chip away at myself instead of like putting so much pressure on myself to have a product, like, be in love with myself, like, know how to produce now. No, it's like, no, I'll never know. I'm always I'm a lifelong idiot. You know what I mean? Like, and I wear that proudly, you know, like if you know, it's the classic thing. Like, if you think you've learned it all, then like you're a fucking tool.
The know-it-all knows nothing.
Right, exactly. A know-it-all knows nothing. And so, yeah, that's, to answer your question, Chicago to New Hampshire. Yeah, basically, I just started more and more, like, I started playing Heels, like the demo of Heels for some friends, and they were just like, dude, like, this is actually good. Like, you need to be doing this. And I was like, I know, but I'm really depressed, and I don't know how the fuck to do it. Because it's just like, how do you pursue pop music when you have, like, no foot in the door? I was just like, I don't know how to even, where does that even begin, you know? And so one day, my brother, who's like my best friend, we're called 5-year apart twins. He's 5 years older than me, and he is a total character, and he's a crypto bro now. Shout out to crypto being down, but he is a total fucking hoot, and he called me up one day, and he was like, I just got fired from my job. I'm going to go home and I'm going to like actually pursue cryptocurrency full time. And you need to come home and build out a studio and finally fucking do your music. And I'll never, like, he was the catalyst, and he was the person because he's like that person in my life that like everyone else could be telling me something and then he says it and I'm like, oh, okay. You know, I just like trust his word. And so I was like, okay. And like a month later I moved home. And that was like the big move I needed to like, yeah. And I knew that I looked delusional and I knew that everyone that I ran into in my hometown, you know, what are you doing? Oh, I just moved home to build out a studio in my room and make pop music. You know, everyone thought I was fucking insane. And I think that's like the life of the artist is that you're delusional until proven not. But just over that year in New Hampshire, I slowly got more and more comfortable with being like slightly delusional and like being okay with that and just being like, yeah, I am trying to do something that is absurd to try to do, but like I don't want to do anything else. So like, what the fuck am I going to do? But do it, you know?
Wow. So, this led you to father-daughter?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I started making memes because I was like, all right, I like memes. They're really fun. Maybe I could make them. And then I got involved with like the femme meme community, like the girls and queers meme community, and started getting followers. And then I was like, oh, yeah, my evil plan is I'm going to cross-market my music into my memes. And so I started doing that and like released Heels and like I had like a couple thousand followers and like people liked it, but obviously it didn't like go viral or anything, but like it was like within my tiny little follower base, people were like, this is good. And so I only had Heels out on like SoundCloud, Bandcamp, and then fall of last year, Tyler from Father Daughter, Tyler and Derry, who's an amazing A&R. I will put you on to just all their stuff later. They're amazing, and they're the future of A&R. They're amazing. But they reached out to me because this girl who works at like this really small record label, indie label called Celestial Sound in Florida, happened to be following me from like my memes, heard Heels, liked it. Tyler works part-time at Celestial Sound as well as father-daughter, and one day she just like played it in the office, and Tyler was just like one of the people in the room, heard it and was like, what is that? And then loved it, reached out to me, and then we started talking. So we started talking about a year ago, and it's a really like long courting process. You know, you just kind of like chat for a while, feel out the vibe. It's all about the vibe. And so then finally in like January, we got on the phone for the first time, really hit it off. Tyler was also a theater kid, so we had this like kindred spirit understanding of like being fucking like theater freaks trying to do music and like inherently not being cool at all. And then I sent them like a draft of the album and they were like, great, when can you like fully finish it? And I was like, okay. And then my engineer came up to my parents' house in New Hampshire into my childhood bedroom, and we made like, because I had like a makeshift studio in my room, but it's not anything amazing. It's bare bones. So I would go down to Boston to work with Lee, and in his studio. So he brought everything that he could, and we created a full studio in my room, and we finished the album in like 2 days while I had a fucking severe cold. So like some of the vocals on the fucking album.
You already signed at this point?
No, I finished the album, sent it to them, and then they sent a contract or an agreement, and then I signed in like April. Yeah. So yeah, I signed in April.
Great.
Yeah. It's a whole process. It's a wild process.
What are some of your favorite albums of the year? I know you posted on Instagram.
Of 2018?
Mm-hmm.
First off, I think the best song of the year is Boy by Charlie Puth.
Mm-hmm.
It is a male sub anthem. It is the funniest song, but also the truly most have you heard that song?
No.
No one has. But it's so good. He is like such an absurd, I think he's such an absurd character in like the pop world. Would love to Would love to collaborate with him, honestly. But that song is amazing. It's literally about being like a younger boy dating like an older, he doesn't specify the gender, so I don't know, but dating an older person and like being too young, and it's like really bitchy, and it's like the whole song is like the chorus is like, baby, how can you treat me just like a boy? It's like so funny and cute. And so that's like my favorite thing of the year. But albums wise, I would definitely say Mariah. Mia Folick, Premonitions. She's fucking amazing. I would say, what else have I like really been listening to? Wait, let me check. You know what I have to do?
Mm-hmm.
Let me check my my fucking Spotify and see. I basically like bumped the same 3 songs over and over again, as everyone does. It's how our fucking minds work.
Rina Sawayama, she is.
I mean, love Rina. Love
So
Rina so
great.
much. Vince Staples FM.
Oh, so great.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, everything he does is.
And I relate to it too because it's very radio centric. You hear Big Boy, up and down the album. It's very, very, very cool.
I love the like the little Tyga moment. The like.
Yeah.
Kayla.
Yo, Kaylani's part. Oh, it was so great. Oh man, she did like a little advertisement for a show or for an album or a song on that. It was very interesting. I have to listen to it again.
Yeah,
So good.
I love. Nao. Do you know Nao?
No.
I'm pretty sure that's how she pronounces it because I looked it up in an interview. I think it's Nao, Nao. She came out with one of the best albums that no one's talking about. It's called Saturn, and
Those are some of the best albums.
Of course, they always are. But yeah, that obviously Robin. Oh man.
Brockhampton.
Duh. Oh, M&E.K. Love M&E.K.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know him?
No.
He's amazing. He, I think, was like a songwriter for a long time, and then he just released like his debut album.
Okay.
He is sick. Really love. I love St. Vincent's Mass Education. The
That was
like,
last
piano
year.
version. No. Mass Education.
Mass Education. Yes.
Uh-huh.
That was pretty cool.
It was cool. I love La 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 La, The Lamb.
I heard some of it. It was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people liked it, but it was cool.
I really like her.
I love Hardly Art. That whole label is dope.
Yeah, I think she's dope. I just like love her whole fucking vision and vibe, and I love that she's opening for Y. Like Y is one of my favorite bands. I love that whole vibe.
Why question mark?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Those were like Rico Nasty.
Yeah.
Queen.
Yep. Do you know Tommy Genesis?
Yeah. Oh. Tommy's amazing. I haven't listened to the new album yet. I'm so excited.
Very good.
Yeah.
You would love it.
Yeah. She's oh, I love her. Malibu Mitch, I'm loving.
Malibu Mitch? I don't know Malibu Mitch.
She's from, I think, the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
She's a rapper coming up on she, Rico, Cardi are all on Atlantic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really love also Pedal, Magic Gone. Shout out to my tour buddy.
Yeah. When's that going down?
That's going to happen January 16th to the 29th. Where's my manager?
We'll just follow
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's happening. We're touring for like
follow you on Instagram.
a little bit.
Out.
Yeah. But it's like the second half of January.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited. It's my first tour ever.
It's gonna be great. I got to see you this time. I missed you at Baby's last time, but I'll catch you.
You gotta come through. It's gonna be some mayhem.
Sir Babygirl, level 20, my little underground. So where can people follow you on
Oh, I really hope they don't follow me down the street. But ways that you can safely follow me is that you can follow me on Instagram at Sir _ should I do this like ASMR? Sir _ Babygirl. And that's all my socials. It's Sir _ Babygirl because I think just Sir Babygirl was taken, which I need to talk. I need to have some words. But yeah, there's an underscore. But my name is just Sir Babygirl, IRL. No underscore necessary. But yeah, at Sir _ Babygirl. One more time. At Sir _ Babygirl.
Crush on Me out February 15th?
Yes,
Is that
sir. Right? That is correct. Day after Valentine's Day.
Perfect time to listen to Sir Babygirl.
Absolutely.
I'm Peter A. Follow me Twitter, Instagram at Peter A Radio, and follow the show at MLU Pod Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe to My Little Underground anywhere you get podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeart, Stitcher, and everywhere on the planet. Level 20, Sir Babygirl.
That's me.
Peace out.
Thank you.
Oh, man.